Hello and welcome to this lesson for design and technology. Today we are going to continue our exploration of joining methods. In our last lesson, we had talked about nailing and its applications. Today we are going to have a look at screwing as well as bolting. Screws are used mostly to join wooden sections. They can also be used to join metal to wood, plastic to wood, as well as plastic to plastic. Screwing is also a relatively easy joining method. The components of a screw are the head, the shank, and the thread. A joint made by screws can be easily disassembled without damaging any parts making up the joint, therefore provide rigid and temporary joints. Different types of screws have been illustrated here. We have the countersunk head screw, the round head screw, and the raised head screw. The countersunk head screw is the most commonly used type of screw. Its head has a conical shape and is inserted into the wood so as to leave a flat, level surface. Amongst the uses of countersunk screws are to join wood to wood and to affix hinges in doors. A round head screw has a round head that lies above the surface of the material. It is used to screw thin metal fittings to wood and also for joinery work. Raised countersunk screws are partially countersunk. That is, half the screw head is above the surface and the other half is underneath. It is used to make high-quality products where the appearance is quite important. A self-tapping screw can be referred to simply as tapping screw. They have higher strength and better penetration. They are often called sheet metal screws because they are primarily used in sheet metal, even if they can also be used for wood. A self-drilling screw is a self-tapping screw with the added feature of a drill point. The drill point looks like the point of a drill. It will drill a hole and form the mating threads in one operation. These have square or hexagonal heads and can be used to fix steel sheets on metal structures, especially when connecting steel roofing sheets to steel tubes. Other types of screws are the twin fast screw, which are twice as rapid thanks to their double thread, the coach screw, which is used for strong joints in timber and masonry, and machine screws, which are blunt-ended screws used to fasten metal parts together. Screws are also classified according to their type of head, which can be straight slot, Phillips recess, or positive recess. Tools that are used with screws are, for example, the screwdriver, which can be both manual or electrical. Once screws are inserted into wood, their heads can be covered using screw caps to improve the appearance of the product being made. Screw cups are inserted before the screw is placed, and these also enhance the appearance of the product. The next type of joints we will look at are bolts. Bolts are preferred to other fasteners since they can hold heavy items. These are mostly used to join metal sections. The metal parts to be joined must be drilled before a bolt can be inserted. Bolting provides temporary assembly, and the different types of bolts are the hexagonal bolt, the square bolt, and the coach bolt. The different components of a bolted joint are usually a bolt, a washer, and a nut. This is how bolts and nuts hold materials together. The materials are drilled through and the bolt is inserted, followed by a washer and a nut. In this case, the hexagonal bolt and hexagonal nut have been used. Looking more carefully at the hexagonal nut, we realize that hexagonal bolts and hexagonal nuts are probably the most common types of fasteners. They're used everywhere. And the reason why they are so popular is because of the hexagon shape of the head, which is very versatile and can easily be held by tools from all angles and even by hand if need be. Bolts may have threads for the whole part of their length, and they are usually used to join parts of machinery together and also in general assembly work. Square head bolts have a squared shape, external wrenching head, and are usually used with a square nut. They are used in all types of industrial, agricultural, and construction applications. Their square shape makes them suited for use in tight areas where the bolt is tightened blind. Square neck bolts are also known as square neck carriage bolts. Square neck bolts are most commonly used in wood. These are available in a variety of diameters and are made from a wide number of grades of steel. This makes it easier to use these bolts in different applications, for example, wooden boat building and building in coastal areas. They generally have a domed top and a square base under the head. This square base pulls into the wood as the nut is tightened for a secure fit. Hexagonal nuts are used with hexagonal bolts. A spanner is used to tighten the nut to the bolt and hold the bolted joints together. One of the purposes of the nut is to spread the load. The wing nut is a very particular nut in that it can be tightened by hand. It has two large metal wings on the sides which make it very easily tightened or loosened where frequent adjustment is necessary. Examples of these situations can be on blackboard compasses and tripods. A washer is a thin plate with a hole that is normally used in bolting. Washers can be plain or spring. They are either used to spread loads or prevent unscrewing. Given the previous explanations, which bolts do you think have been used in the assembly of this table? Correct, it is the coach bolt. Which nut do you think has been used to affix the wheel rim shown? Yes, it is the hexagonal nut. Some other types of bolts available are cheese bolts, socket bolts, flange bolts, and anchor bolts. Here you will see a collection of screws and bolts that have been put side by side. You can compare these in terms of size, shape of head, and type of slot. As we have seen for previous fasteners, these have quite specialized uses. Here too, you will see different bolts that have been put side by side, the most particular being the shortest, which is the socket set screw, also commonly known as the grub screws or headless screws. The most common examples of their use are in pulleys or gears and shafts. The more research you do and the more you use fastenings, the more you will be specialized in their different applications and advantages. Bolts are tightened using tools that are selected according to the size of the head of the bolt being used. The tools that are used are the open-end spanner, the ring spanner, and the adjustable wrench. During this video, we have been able to see common types of screws and their uses, as well as common types of bolts and their uses. Catch us for our next video on joining methods. Bye!